flashy animations, high-octane gameplay, and Disney's Speedstorm has entered the early access stage, and we went out to test the newest entry into the kart racer genre, with the expectations being that this could challenge Mario Kart, of course. And I really have to say, it was 4 things in total that shocked me about Disney's Speedstorm. Some of them nearly made the game unplayable for me. And with that, welcome back to Overtake. This time in a very different environment to our usual Vita. Disney's Speedstorm is a soon-to-be free-to-play game developed by Gameloft, the same studio behind the Asphalt mobile games. At first glance, it may seem like something many big pop culture studios, such as Nickelodeon, have tried in order to catch a bit of that Mario Kart fan base. Up until now, this has led to an uninspiring spree of titles which are untouched and on sale soon after release. But with Disney's Speedstorm, a few things were supposed to be different. Right off the bat, the game will release as free-to-play in the future. Whoever wants to get their hands on it now will have to buy one of the Founders packages, however, which will cost you anywhere from 30 to a hefty $70. So the current payment model is clear, but with the addition of free-to-play, I was almost scared to have a first look at the opening page of the game, for fear of the microtransaction. But the number one thing that shocked me about Disney Speedstorm is that there's currently not a single way to spend your money while playing. No microtransactions to be seen, except a season pass, which every early access member gets for free, after paying 30 or $70, of course. But do you want to know what is really free? A subscription to this awesome channel, which just recently hit 100k subs. So if you want to be part of this family, a like, sub, and tap on the bell will be the best way to go. But back to Speedstorm. Seeing the absence of microtransactions was a giant relief for me at first, until I took a look at the Gameloft webpage to find that they will be added into the game later on. A bit of a bummer, because I would have really appreciated a grindy game that has the focus on selling a season pass for dedicated players. But alas, it was only a dream. Also very interesting of Gameloft to leave that out in early access to potentially farm a few praise for it. But who cares, right? Scrooge McDuck wouldn't have been mad about it. And even though he is not a playable character in the game, a lot of the ones from your favorite Disney franchises are. From Mickey Mouse over Hercules and Jungle Book to the Pirates of the Caribbean. All of them have a trillion upgrades you can get for each sprite as well as their team. Additionally, there are crews, which buff a specific racer. These crews then consist of more characters from the series the drive originates from. Unlockable are all of the equipment upgrades and crew members from playing the different game modes. There is a starter campaign, a more advanced season, several of multiplayer modes, as well as missions to do. Nearly every mode gives you a different form of currency that can be used to buy things in the shop. All in all, a large array of things to do. The variety of playable chars is also very cool, and feels even better due to the classes they are put in. Brawlers are aggressive drivers with stunning power-ups, speedstars are the opposite of me and just very fast, while defenders hold their ground in rough situations. I most enjoyed playing as Donald Duck, because he's very much like me in a lot of situations. It feels very natural to pick up new characters, as they all offer something unique in terms of gameplay. Speaking of that, there is certainly a thing that shocked me there. A kart racing game lives and breathes through its gameplay. As it will never be something that is competitively played, the fun part of the racing has to be the priority. And I can safely say that is the second time Disney Speedstorm shocked me. The gameplay of the title feels really good, way better than I expected. Fast, rewarding, and not too punishing at the same time should you have the misfortune to be stunned one too many times. The field is nearly always condensed into a tight pack. This makes for chaotic and wild interactions. To ensure this tight racing, there are a few catch-up mechanics in play, like increased boost generation when behind. The features implemented are nothing groundbreaking, but they don't have to be in my eyes. Instead of items, these little blocks here give you power-ups, which can differ from character to character. Aggressive drivers can choose stuns, while faster ones may only want plain boosts to their speed. A neat thing I haven't found in any other kart racer so far is this line you can take that carries you over a certain distance and simultaneously fills up your boost bar. One thing in particular feels nice in Disney Speedstorm, and that is the smoothness. With the typical slide move, Kart racing games often run the risk of making the races clunky if the animation is off. In Speedstorm, you do feel like everything flows pretty well together. The circuits are also super detailed and give you a whole lot of opportunities to either mess up a lap or get ahead in small, spur-of-the-moment decisions. Oftentimes, there are 2, maybe 3 corridors you can choose from, who all feature different upsides. At times you can't help but feel it's a bit cramped for the condensed racing happening. A bit more width on the tracks would have been cool, but it rarely ruins a race. Even though not a whole lot in the gameplay screams innovation, I do have to give it to Speedstorm here. They created something that is both engaging and fun most of the time. Moving on from the gameplay to some of the less tangible things. Even though the main focus of a kart racer is not the graphics, we do have to mention them here. Speedstorm does look stylish and well made. Animations during the race run as smooth as the gameplay, which is nice considering something we will get to in the end. The game does rock a certain style, so some characters will seem awfully nice opposed to their backstory. Stop smiling. But of course, the game somewhat has to appeal to children. And angry looking creatures all the time would kind of ruin that. In another vein, we got another shocker, however. The third thing that rattled me during my playthrough was the absolutely insane soundtrack. Usually, I don't feel like I keep an ear to the racing game tunes of the world, but Speedstorm nailed it perfectly here. On nearly every track, there is a remix of a famous song or new approach to setting the scene. Very nice and made for an even more enjoyable racing experience, especially in conjunction with all the natural sounds created by the racing. An underrated part in many games has truly made a difference here in my eyes. But after a whole lot of praise, I have to tell you guys what killed my motivation to continue playing this. As I said multiple times now, Disney's Speedstorm is super fun and engaging, whenever it works. The final thing that shocked me about Disney's Speedstorm is the frequency of problems you still run into. The installation alone was an experience, and not a good one at that. Anything from not starting at all, to finally running after the third download, to 100% CPU usage while installing, to 10-minute loading screens, was a little unexpected given the framework we operate under here. The game did crash on me a couple of times without any indication afterwards, which would have been okay, I guess, if the way back into the game wasn't as long as it is. They choose to put like a 90-second unskippable cutscene at the start for no apparent reason other than showing you the game you're about to play anyway. Since the game did not recognize my controller, I had to fiddle around with the keyboard, and even though the feeling is completely fine, it can definitely be an argument not to touch this title if I can have my gamepad for it. Visual bugs do also exist, although if the race does end up going through, none I have found actually playing. Most are in the menu. Another issue is the constant connection dilemma online. I've played around 5 races online, and in half it just doesn't connect the players properly. It sometimes leads to confusing situations like this one, where the grid was being shown for the 4th time in a row before the race even started. I can say I enjoyed Disney's Speedstorm, but getting to play Disney's Speedstorm is a chore at current state. I know that a lot of it comes down to early access and the problems connected with playtesting here. But if you want to hear my honest opinion, you shouldn't touch it currently. Taking into consideration the potential this game has is correct. It did provide fun and exciting racing, but half of the time, the game just doesn't work, or at least it didn't for us. And having said all of that, Speedstorm is still a Mario Kart clone. Simple as that. It does things differently, so no copy and paste at least. But if you really want to drive a kart racer that doesn't leave you frustrated with its build 80% of the time, maybe going for the classic is the way to go. Gameloft can fix these things and should hurry up to do so. Early access is where many titles have found their eternal rest already, so if they don't start acting now, it may be too late in a few months. Currently, the game is available on Steam, Switch, PS4 and PS5, as well as on Xbox, and in the Epic Store as well. If you then also want to know something about the 7 best open world games, then clicking on this video here will help you fill that gap in your heart. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, cheerio.